Today, we're going to start our meditation with a quote from historian Howard Zinn. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based in the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. There is a lot of chaos in our world. While there are many of us who are full of joy and excitement around the holiday season, looking forward to time spent with friends and with family, enjoying the abundance of what we have and what we feel we have, some of us feel very challenged to find any element of joy. Families are divided. Nations are torn apart by the turmoil of war. Many carry such deep grief that it remains in our hearts, and the holiday season just feels like it's tearing open, and the homes of those around us feel like they are enjoying and celebrating while we struggle. Yet, we continue to try to open our hearts and our homes to those around us, to search for ways to share what little hope we think remains. Hope that may seem scarce. But we realize at some level that hope will only grow if and when we share it with each other. Our hymn choice today speaks quite profoundly to that immense hope that is big enough to embrace the whole of the world. So let's take a moment, settle into the place where we are. Take a few of those deep breaths. Let ourselves settle just a little bit more. Ground ourselves through the soles of our feet to the ground below us, to our bodies as we sit in the place where we sit. And let's contemplate the idea of hope large enough to fill the whole of the world. Hope of the world, thou Christ of great compassion, speak to our fearful hearts by conflict rent. Save us, thy people, from consuming passion, who by our own false hopes and aims are spent. Hope of the world, God's gift from the highest heaven, bringing to hungry souls the bread of life. Still, let thy spirit unto us be given, to heal earth's wounds and end her bitter strife. Hope of the world afoot on dusty highways, showing to the wandering souls the path of light. Walk thou beside us, lest thy tempting byways lure us away from thee to endless night. Hope of the world, who by thy cross didst save us from death and dark despair, from sin and guilt, we render back the love thy mercy gave us. Take thou our lives and use them as thou wilt. Hope of the world, O Christ, o'er death victorious, who by this sign didst conquer grief and pain, we would be faithful to thy glorious gospel. Thou art our Lord, thou dost forever reign. As I researched the author of this hymn, I was surprised that I had never heard of her story. Georgia Elma Arkness, born in 1891 and living until 1974, was the first woman to teach theology in an American seminary. And during her lifetime, she was a household name. She had incredible accomplishments. But yet today, very few even know who she was. And all of her writings are out of print. When we listen to that life story, we can be reminded of all of those who have come before us, whose accomplishments are lost in time, and yet are still helping us today by the legacy that they left. So Harkness earned her Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from Cornell University in 1912. Then she went on to Boston University, but she was denied entrance because of her sex to the Boston University School of Theology. So instead, Harkness earned a PhD in philosophy of religion in 1923. Finally, in 1926, she was ordained a Methodist minister. And she continued to take classes and to teach at several different colleges. However, her interests lay strongly in missionary work and global concerns, and she never lost that drive. Through her hymn writing, her perspective on the cares of the whole of the earth remain in our consciousness today. Harkness's lyrics, in amongst all of the images that they evoke in us, give us a real possibility for a positive future. Makes us think of Paul's letter to the Romans, in which he wrote, "For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in the scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope." And so some questions for you to take with you to ponder. First off, does hope for the world inspire you to want to work toward a positive future? And perhaps not just a positive future for yourself and for those around you, but makes you dream of a positive future for the whole world? The image of hope in this particular hymn feels like a different approach than the hymns that we have heard the past few days. Listen again to that third verse, and I will read it for you again. And listen to the image that is in it. Hope of the world, afoot on dusty highways, showing to the wandering soul the path of light. Walk thou beside us, lest the tempting byways lure us away from thee to endless night. Describe for yourself what image is evoked for you when you hear that particular verse. And finally, is it important what we hope for? How does it make a difference to us where we put our hope? So I'll leave you to ponder those particular questions and any other questions that have come up for you during this meditative time. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. And until then, take care and God bless.